By the end of this lesson, you will be using the ing ending more and understanding why making movies is a relationship technology. In the when lesson, we learned that we need to put the ing ending on the action word to focus the mind on a series of nows, one after another. Now, etc. And we learned that we need to add the word be because the ing ending does not give when information. I hope you have made a lot of sentences with be in the past, present, and future so that you are comfortable using it. You will need it every time you add ing to an action word. The ing ending is used a lot more than you might think. When used with the present form of be, am, is, and are, it focuses the mind on the action now. But it is also possible to focus the mind on actions in the past and the future. Don't believe me? Here is the complete text of a speech by then President Obama on energy independence from September 2006. It looks just like any other text. But notice that the ing endings are everywhere. Here are two examples of Obama using the ing ending with the words be on actions in the past and the future. Let's learn how and when to use the ing ending with action words so that you also begin to use it more. Using the ing ending is easy. Add ing to the action word and put the past, present, or future form of be in front of it. For past actions, put the ing on the action word and put the past forms of be in front. For example, I was rocking and rolling. You were rocking and rolling. He was rocking and rolling. She was. It was. You were. We were. They were. Present ing actions. For present actions, put the ing on the action word and put the present form of be in front. For example, I am rocking and rolling. You are rocking and rolling. He is. She is. It is. You are. We are. They are. Future ing actions. For future actions, put the ing on the action word and put the future form of be in front. For example, I will be rocking and rolling. You will be rocking and rolling. He will be. She will be. It will be. You will be. We will be. And they will be. It is that easy. You are now ready to start practicing the making movies technology in the past, present, and future with the who or what technology, the operators and directives, and your current most important 25 words until you are comfortable doing so. But mind the gaps. Gap 1. You will see and hear words with an ing ending without the word be in front of them. Don't think about them when you are learning the ing ending on action words. We will work on them at the end of the lesson. Gap number 2. Going to means a plan to do something. Use it if you know how. Don't if you don't. We will also look at this at the end of the lesson. Gap number 3. The phrase to be before an ing action word communicates the perspective of the receiver of an action. Use it if you know how, and don't worry about it if you do not. This is learned in the infinity lesson. Quo vadis ing? What is it for? There is no ing ending in German, but have you ever wondered why that is? Using the ing is easy. Understanding when and why to use a language technology that does not exist in your language is difficult. You need to understand it to know when and why to use it. When I ask what the ing ending communicates, I usually get one of the following four answers. The ing ending on an action word with be in front means that an action is 1. Longer than without an ing ending. 2. More certain. 3. Not finished. And or number 4 is happening now. Let's look at all four after a story. Two couples live on the same floor of an apartment building. They are best friends and will be on a trip to the Seychelles next Monday. They are fully prepared. Their suitcases are packed and standing at the front door. Their passports and airplane tickets are on top of the suitcases. It is now 10 o'clock in the evening, and both couples are in bed. The first husband turns to his wife, and before turning off the lights, says, "Darling, in a few days we will walk on warm white sand. We will swim in crystal clear blue water. We will eat fresh fish from the barbecue, and we will drink champagne." At the exact same time, before turning off the light, the second husband says, "Darling, in a few days we will be walking on warm white sand. We will be swimming in crystal clear blue water. We will be eating fresh fish from the barbecue, and we will be drinking champagne." The day they come back, the first husband will say, "Darling, on our trip we walked on warm white sand. We swam in crystal clear blue water. We ate fresh fish from the barbecue, and we drank champagne." And at the same time, the second husband will say, "Darling, on our trip we were walking on warm white sand. We were swimming in crystal clear blue water. We were eating fresh fish from the barbecue, and we were drinking champagne." What is the difference between these two ways of talking about the trip? Can the four ideas about what the ing ending on an action word with be in front communicates help understand the difference? Number 1, the ing ending with be means that an action is longer. How long did they walk? How long were they swimming? How long did they eat fish? And how long were they drinking champagne? We don't know. And if we don't know, then neither way can be longer or shorter. No, the ing ending does not mean that an action is longer. Number 2, the ing ending with be means that an action is more certain. Both couples are certain. Everything is packed, and they are ready to go. There is no difference. The ing ending does not mean that an action is more certain. Number 3, the ing ending with be means that an action is not finished. Yes and no. Yes, because the future cannot be finished because it has not started. And yes, because an action happening now cannot be finished. If it was finished, it would be in the past, and the past is by definition finished. The ing ending with be on an action word can, but must not mean that an action is not finished. Number 4, the ing ending with be means that an action is happening now? No. The ing ending does not say anything about when. That is why we need be in front. And be can be present, past, and future. So yes, the ing can mean that an action is happening now, but it must not be now. It can also communicate actions in the past and future. Those are not now, right? This is where things get interesting. Both husbands are communicating the same facts about actions. Actions that will happen in the future and that happened in the past. But it is possible that the second wife feels better about how her husband talked about the trip because he uses the ing ending. It is also possible that the wife of the first husband is not sure if her husband is excited about the trip because he did not use the ing ending. She may feel he does not really want to go. Did you feel any of that? One way to understand using the ing ending with be is as an invitation to imagine something together. That is, to experience an action in the mind together. This imagining always happens now. Actions in the past and future are not now, but when I imagine them, I am imagining them now. When you imagine something, you always imagine it now. When you imagine an action in the past or in the future, the act of imagining it is always now. We can think of the actions imagined in your mind as a movie. That would make the ing ending an invitation to a movie about the past, the future, or now. The moment that the movie is playing is always now. It does not matter if the film is about now, the past, or the future. The film plays the moment you hear or read an action word with the ing ending and be. This means that we can think of the ing ending on action words with be as an invitation to go to a movie together. Going to a movie together is nice. It feels good. This is what the second wife may have felt. Communicating an action without the ing ending in be, on the other hand, makes it more into a habit or a list of actions. A list is a set of facts, and facts are impersonal. That is why an action communicated without the ing ending can feel more distant, more cold. Experiencing something as distant and cold is not so nice and may feel bad. This is what the first wife may have felt. Being cold and distant is not the best thing for relationships. Inviting someone to a movie, on the other hand, is good for relationships. So is going to a movie. That is why using the ing with be is good for relationships. Talking about the ing in terms of relationships is very different than talking about it in terms of grammar. It's subtle, not something about hard facts. It is something we need to develop a feeling for. Consider the following story. Two bosses call you to explain a new job. Boss number 1. You will be working in the customer center in Toronto. Your main job will be consulting customers. Your main responsibility will be making sure customers are happy. When you arrive, I will be giving you a tour of the office and introducing you to your colleagues. Boss number 2. You will work in the customer center in Toronto. Your main job will be to consult customers. Your main responsibility will be to make sure customers are happy. When you first arrive, I will give you a tour of the office and introduce you to your colleagues. Which boss do you like more? Which description of the work feels better? To use the ing with be, well, to do this well, it is important to develop this feeling. Here are two practical examples. It feels better to end an email with, I am looking forward to seeing you, better than with, I look forward to see you. This is because looking forward and seeing are invitations to imagine you looking forward to something and the two of you seeing each other. Look forward and see, on the other hand, are more distant and cold. So use looking forward to and seeing at the end of an email to strengthen the relationship. Native speakers feel strange if someone asks them, how do you do? How do you do is formal, distant, cold. It fits kings and queens and the Victorian era, but not ours. That is why people ask, how are you doing? Now that we know this, I can tell you a story that may motivate you even more to use the ing ending more. Before moving to Germany, I was teaching philosophy at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. The first person I told about moving to Germany to research at the University of Konstanz was my good friend Sonja. She studied Herder, a German philosopher of the 18th century, and had been to Germany many times. She said, don't stay too long. When I asked her why, she was surprised about the question. Don't you know why? When I said I really didn't, she said, if you stay too long, you will become too German. When I asked her what she meant, she was again surprised and said, you know, Prussian, Teutonic. When I again wanted to know what she meant, she got up, started walking like a robot, and said, give me rules. I need rules. Give me rules. This is a classic case of prejudice, because it is not possible for Sonja to have met all Germans to be able to say that they all act like this. In fact, when I came to Germany, Sonja's fear was not my experience. But a few years later, when thinking about how there is no ing ending in German, I thought that maybe a reason that some Anglo-Saxons feel that Germans are a bit cold and distant is because many German English speakers do not use the ing ending enough. My advice? Use it more.